1. Introduction. My name is Emma. I had a very important day. It was the day of my job interview. I wanted this job very much. I needed it. I felt very nervous before I went to the company. My hands were cold and my heart was beating very fast. I walked into the big office building. The office inside was very nice. It looked expensive and important. I went to the room for the interview. I opened the door and walked in quietly. I saw a man sitting at a large, dark wooden desk. He was the CEO of the company. His name was Ben. When I saw him, I stopped walking. I could not move for a moment. My body felt frozen. I knew this man. He was the man I had a secret feeling for when I was at college many years ago. I liked him very much then, but he did not know it. He looked different now. He looked very strong and important. His face was serious and cold. He did not smile when I came in. He looked at me, but he did not know me. He looked at me like I was just a stranger he had never seen before. This surprised me very much. I felt very strange inside, but I had to do the interview. I walked to the chair and sat down. He started asking me questions about my studies and my past work experience. He asked about my skills and why I wanted the job at his company. He spoke in a calm voice, but his eyes were cold. He did not show any warm feeling. He interviewed me just like he would interview any other person who wanted a job. He did not remember me at all from college. This felt very strange. I tried my best to answer his questions well. I spoke about my skills and why I wanted the job. I needed this job very badly. After the interview finished, I left the office building. I felt nervous about the result. I thought maybe I did not do well because I was so surprised by Ben. I waited for a few days. Then, I received a phone call. It was from the company. They told me I got the job. I was very surprised and very happy. I got the job, even though I saw Ben and he did not remember me. I would work for the man I liked when I was young. The man who now looked powerful and cold and treated me like a stranger. It was real. I had the job. 2. My new boss. Starting my new job was exciting, but also very difficult. Every day, I walked into the big office building. I sat at my desk and tried to focus on my work. But my boss, Ben, was always close by. He was the CEO and his office was near mine. Working for Ben was not easy. He was a very strict boss. He liked everything to be perfect. He was also very quiet. He did not talk much, just about work. This made the office feel a little cold sometimes. Being near him every day was a challenge for me. My heart would race when he walked past my desk or when he called my name. It was hard to stay calm and act normal. I had to hide my feelings very carefully. No one at work knew my secret, especially not Ben. He still had no idea who I was. He did not remember me from university. I was just the new employee to him. He did not see the shy girl who used to watch him from a distance years ago. He treated me like any other person working in the company. But slowly, things started to change, just a little. After the first few weeks, Ben began to ask me questions that were not about work. Simple questions, like how my weekend was, or if I liked living in the city. He asked about my hobbies. It was a very small change, but it felt big to me. It showed a little interest in my life outside the office. These small talks made my feelings stronger. I wanted to tell him the truth about the past. I wanted to say, Ben, I knew you from university. I had a crush on you. But the words stayed in my throat. I was too scared. Scared to tell him, scared of what he might think, scared that everything would change. So I kept my secret hidden, working for my boss who did not know the real me. 3. A big surprise. The company had a party. It was a big event. Many people from work were there. The music was loud, and everyone was talking and laughing. I was standing with some other people from my team. We were talking about the project we were working on. I felt a little shy, as always, but I was trying to enjoy the night. I saw Ben across the room. He was talking to some important guests. He looked very smart in his suit. Suddenly, I felt a hand on my arm. It was Ben. He leaned in and said something I could not hear over the music. He smiled a little and then gently pulled me away from the group. He led me across the room and towards a door that went outside. We stepped out into the cool night air. It was much quieter there. The city lights were beautiful in the distance. Ben turned to face me. He looked into my eyes. He looked different from how he usually did at work. Not cold, but thoughtful. He said, "Emma, I don't know why, but I feel I can trust you." His voice was soft. Before I could say anything, he moved closer. He put his hands on my face and kissed me. It was a long kiss. My heart was beating very fast. I did not expect this at all. It was a big surprise. After the kiss, we stood there for a moment. He smiled again, a real smile this time. He didn't say much else, and we went back inside soon after. The rest of the party was a blur for me. I could only think about the kiss and his words. What did it mean? The next few weeks were strange. Ben was still my boss, and things felt almost normal at work, but there was something different between us. We talked more, not just about work. He was still quiet, but he seemed more open. I thought about the kiss every day. I did not know what would happen next. Then, about 3 weeks later, something happened that surprised me even more than the kiss. Ben asked me to meet him one evening after work. We met near a quiet park. He was not wearing his usual work clothes. He looked a little nervous. We walked slowly for a bit. He stopped and turned to me. He held my hands. He looked deeply into my eyes again. Then he said, "Emma, this might be fast, but I know I want to be with you. Will you marry me?" I was completely stunned. My mouth opened, but no words came out. Marry him, Ben, my boss, the man I had a secret crush on for years. It was too much to understand quickly. My mind was racing. This was happening so fast, too fast, but looking at his face, I felt something strong. I felt happy, yes, very happy, but also very confused. How could he ask this now? Why me? Still, after a moment of shock, I heard myself say, "Yes, yes, I will marry you." He smiled brightly and hugged me tightly. I hugged him back. I felt happy in his arms, but the confusion stayed in my head. Everything was moving at an unbelievable speed. From being his new employee to a kiss to a proposal, all in just a few weeks. It felt like a dream or maybe something not quite real. I was going to marry Ben. It was a very big surprise, maybe the biggest surprise of my life. I hoped everything would be okay. For a secret photo. I was in Ben's office. It was a very large room. He was not there at that moment. I was alone. I looked around the room. There were many expensive things, big chairs, a long table, pictures on the wall. On a shelf, I saw a small wooden box. It looked old and interesting. I went closer to the shelf. I picked up the box. It felt light in my hands. I opened the lid slowly and carefully. Inside, there were a few things. An old pen, a small piece of paper, and a photograph. I took the photograph out. It was a picture of a woman. I looked at her face closely. My heart gave a small jump. The woman in the photo looked very much like me. It was strange. She had the same shape face, the same dark hair, the same kind of eyes. It was like looking at my own face, but from a different time. I felt a strong sense of surprise. I turned the photo over. There was writing on the back. It was written with a pen. I read the words slowly. They said, "I will never forget you, Eliza." Eliza. So her name was Eliza. Why did she look so much like me? Why did Ben have this picture? Why did he keep it in a box? So many questions came into my mind very quickly. I felt a little dizzy. Ben came back into the office then. He saw the photo in my hand. His face became serious immediately. He looked at the photo, then at me. His eyes looked sad. "Where did you find that?" he asked in a quiet voice. "In this box," I said, showing him the wooden box. "Who is she, Ben? She looks like me." Ben walked to his desk. He sat down slowly. He looked at the photo again for a long time. "That is a very old photo," he said again. "Her name was Eliza. She was my fiancée many years ago, before I started this company." My voice was quiet when I asked, "What happened to her?" Ben looked up at me. His sadness was very clear in his eyes. "She left me," he said. "She left me at the church. On the day we were going to get married. She just went away." My mouth felt dry. I looked at the photo of Eliza. She looked so beautiful and so much like me. How could she leave him? And why did she look like me? It felt like a piece of a puzzle, a piece that I did not understand. This woman, Eliza, was a secret in Ben's past, a sad secret, and her face was almost my face. It felt very strange and important. I wanted to know more about Eliza. I wanted to know why she looked like me. I put the photo back in the box, but the image of Eliza's face stayed in my head. It was a mystery. 5. A family secret. I needed to know more about Eliza. After I saw the photo and heard Ben's sad story, I could not stop thinking about her. Why did she look so much like me? It felt strange and important. I decided to find out who she really was. I started looking for information. I searched online. I looked for her name, Eliza. I spent many hours trying to understand the mystery of the woman in the photo. Then I found something. It was a big surprise, a shock. I found information about Eliza and her family, and I found information about my own family. I read carefully. My hands were shaking a little. The words on the screen told a story I never knew. It said that Eliza was my sister, my older sister. We had the same father but different mothers. She was my half-sister. I never knew I had a sister. My father never spoke about her. It was a big family secret. Eliza left her home many years ago. She changed her name. Now I understood why she looked like me. We were family. Suddenly, everything became clear, like a light turned on in a dark room. Ben did not love me. He did not fall in love with Emma. He fell in love with the memory of Eliza. He saw her face in me. I was not special to him for being me. I was special because I looked like her. I was just a copy. A shadow of the woman he truly loved in the past. This truth hurt me very much. My heart felt broken. I felt like I was not real. I was not Emma to him. I was Eliza's double. I could not marry Ben knowing this. How could I marry a man who saw another woman when he looked at me? I knew then that I had to leave. I could not marry him. I could not live this lie. 6. A hard talk. It was a very difficult decision. I left the house where Ben and I lived. I did not tell him why I was leaving. It felt wrong, but I knew I could not stay. My heart hurt very much. I went back to my small apartment. It felt empty after living with him. Soon, Ben started calling me. His name came up on my phone again and again. He called many times, day and night. He sent messages asking me to answer. He wanted to know where I was and why I left. But I could not answer. I was not ready to talk. I needed time to think about everything I had learned. I stayed in my apartment for a few days. I did not go out. I thought about Eliza, my sister I never knew. I thought about Ben and how I felt like I was living in her shadow. I felt like I was not myself, but just a copy of someone else. This feeling was very strong. Then, one afternoon, there was a knock on my door. I opened it, and Ben was standing there. He looked tired and worried. He found me. He asked me to talk to him. He begged me to tell him why I left so suddenly. He looked lost and sad. I knew I had to tell him the truth now. It was time for a hard talk. I let him come inside my small apartment. We sat down and I started to speak. My voice was shaking at first. I told him everything I had discovered. I told him about Eliza. I told him she was my older half-sister. I told him how much she looked like me. I told him how I found out. I also told him how I felt. I told him that I felt like I was just a shadow of Eliza. I told him I thought he did not love me, but only loved the memory of her because I looked like her. It was hard to say these words, but they were in my heart. Ben listened quietly. His eyes were wide. He looked completely shocked by what I was telling him. He did not say anything for a moment. Then he spoke my name. "Emma," he said. His voice was serious. "I never loved Eliza the way I love you. You're not her, you're you." 7. A big problem. After Emma told Ben the truth, something big happened. The media found out their story. Newspapers and websites wrote about them. There were big headlines everywhere. They called it a huge scandal. People read about Ben, the CEO, and Emma, the woman who was the sister of his ex-fiancée. It was shocking news for many. It made things very difficult. At work, the atmosphere changed. People looked at Emma and Ben when they passed. They whispered to each other. The office felt cold and uncomfortable. Everyone knew about the scandal. It was hard to work like before with everyone watching and talking. The problem was not only inside the company. Ben's company started to have serious trouble. Clients read the news about the scandal. They did not want to work with a company that was in the headlines for personal reasons. Some clients stopped their business with Ben's company. The company started to lose a lot of money. This was a very bad situation for Ben's business. The people who were in charge of the company, the board of directors, were very unhappy. They talked to Ben. They said the scandal was hurting the company badly. They told Ben they thought he should leave his job. They wanted him to resign as the CEO. This was a very big problem for Ben. His company was his life's work. Emma saw everything that was happening. She felt terrible. She thought it was her fault. If she was not with Ben, maybe the scandal would stop. Maybe his company would be okay. She decided she had to leave him to help him. She went to Ben and said, "I will go away. If I am not here, maybe the scandal will end. Then your company can be safe." But Ben did not want her to leave. He looked at Emma with strong eyes. He took her hand in his. He held it tightly. He said, "No, Emma, you must not go. Let them talk. Let the newspapers write what they want. It does not change things for me." He looked deeply into her eyes. His voice was calm but full of feeling. "Yes, the company is important," he said. "But you are much more important than the company. I choose you, Emma. I will always choose you." Emma felt the warmth of his hand and heard his words. It was a difficult time with the scandal and the company problems. But Ben was with her. He chose her. This gave her hope. But the path ahead still looked hard. There were many problems because of the news and the business troubles. They had to face this big problem together. It was not easy, but they were not alone anymore. They had each other. The whispering continued at work. The newspapers kept writing stories. Clients were still leaving. The board waited for Ben's decision. This was a very big problem for Ben and Emma, and they did not know what the future would hold. But Ben had made his choice very clear. He chose Emma above everything else. It was a challenging moment for them, facing the public eye and uncertainty. 8. A new start. We decided to leave the big city behind us. The noise, the people, the problems, we left it all. We wanted peace and quiet. We moved to a small town far away. It was a big change from our old life. The town was calm and beautiful. The air was fresh. There were trees and parks everywhere. We found a nice, small house. It felt like a real home, not just a place to live. Ben did not want to go back to his old company. He wanted something new, something smaller. He loved fashion, so he opened a small fashion studio in the town. It was not a big office like before. It was a nice, bright room with sewing machines and colorful fabrics. He designed clothes, and I helped him. I learned a lot about designing and making clothes. We worked together every day. It was different from working in a big company, but it was good. We were happy working side by side. Time passed quickly. 1 year went by. We felt strong and happy together. We decided to get married. We did not want a big, public wedding. We wanted something simple and private. We chose a place by the sea. The sea was blue and the sun was warm. There were no cameras, no journalists, no drama, only us and a few close friends. We said our promises to each other with the sound of the waves. It was the best day. I looked at Ben, and I knew he saw me, the real me. Not Eliza's sister, not the girl from the scandal, just Emma. I was standing in the sun, not in a shadow anymore. I was Ben's wife. He loved me for who I was, for my own self. Our new start was here, in this quiet town by the sea. It was a simple life, full of love and peace. We were finally free from the past. We built our future together, one happy day at a time.